Very good evening to all the esteemed members who have joined us in this webinar today. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to yet another thought provoking episode under Grow Your Practice series of CMP. This series, as many of you are aware of, is aimed at nurturing transformative outlook among the members, helping them to adapt, evolve, and embrace the dynamic contours of professional practice. Today's theme is very interesting, and we got a lot of queries from amongst our fraternity. And this is practice opportunity and evolving roles of chartered accountant in real estate advisory. This theme addressed a sector that stands at the intersection of policy reform, regulatory oversight, and economic growth. The real estate sector, as you all may be knowing, once largely seen as a traditional, is now a complex ecosystem governed by legislation such as RERA, changing financial models, new age compliance mechanisms, and there is a lot of regulation involved at a level of local bodies. And this evolution offers the CA fraternity an expanded canvas beyond conventional audit and taxation into domains like transaction advisory, regulatory representation, project structuring, due diligence, sustainable reporting. So, where all the opportunities are lying, this webinar will going to give you some oversight about the same. I'm truly delighted to share that we have among us CA Madhukar Narayan Hirgange, Chairman of Committee for Members in Practice, along with our eminent speakers of today's session, CA Ramesh Shankar Prabhu and CA Vinay Tyagraj, both of whom bring deep domain expertise and extensive hands-on experience in the field of real estate advisory and practice development. So before we begin, I would once again like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for your continued engagement with ICI's initiatives, your active participation, and very important, your thoughtful questions and eagerness to learn will make all these initiatives a vibrant and collaborative platform for professional growth. So we encourage all participants to share your queries in the chat box, which you can see on your screen. And this will be addressed by our honorable speakers for the day. So with this, I would like to take this opportunity to have a brief introduction of the chair of Committee for Members in Practice, CA Madhukar Narayan Hirakange, a visionary leader whose name is synonymous with integrity, innovation, and inspiration within the profession. With an illustrious career spanning over 37 years, he has co authored 37 books, including 12 on GST, and he has been a trailblazer in the field of indirect taxation and professional development. Currently, leading as the chair of Committee for Members in Practice, where his vision is to empower practitioners with the knowledge, tools, right mindset which is required to build future ready and value driven firms. We thank you so much, sir, for providing us all the guidance and for providing us the basic fundamental infrastructure for all these new initiatives which the committee has taken. So, before going forward, may I request the chair committee for members in practice, Madhukar sir, to please address for your kind address, sir, and to also we would like to request you the various initiatives which the committee has taken, and on each and every day we get a lot of inputs from your side as to how the scalability of this initiatives is possible and what all is there in the framework of the committee to be rolled out for the information of our members. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Alok. I should start by saying that, ideas are dime a dozen, but only those ideas which get implemented and taken forward are worth anything. And that is done by you guys, not by me. It is Alok, Priyanshu, and your team at CMP, which is doing a wonderful job. There is so much of work, admin work required, so much of follow-up required, whether it is, speakers or content development. Challenges are there, and many times we hold you responsible for other people's real estate. It has happened a bit. So I am sorry for that, but then that's the way I am. But yeah, I think this committee is going to be a path breaking committee, because we have started many things which are going to make a difference in the way in which learning is going to happen in the CA community. First thing we are doing is that we are trying to see how we can reduce the seminars based learning, which we feel is very, very limited. Maybe 5% learning is there in the seminars. But 90% of the, initiatives of the ICAI are done through seminars and conferences. And workshops are very less. Takers are less. The mind span is less. People do not want to allocate time, large amounts of time. So these are challenges which are there in the environment throughout the world. It's not only India, it's not only chartered accountants. Attention span has come down. Patience has come down. But in spite of all of this, our job is to ensure that we educate, we skill, we inspire our CAs. And that is why this year, this particular series which you are doing, which is that opportunities webinars, where you have talked about attracting clients, you have talked about how a proprietor can become a partnership, you have looked at some value addition possibilities, English language, how learning English language can make me a global consultant. Nearer to that, we have been building capacities in this portion. We have also got a webinar series where the mindset change, which is important for new age disruptive times, is also taken by you, where we have looked at attitudes and values, and at times even good habits, which is being shared by successful chartered accountants. I think we have done around, we have covered maybe around 20 chartered accountants till now, and we aim to cover another 100 in times to come, in next year also. This committee, when it started, 2-3 things it started with. We promised right in the beginning, though we were not sure. At that time, Alok might have been very afraid. We are saying we are going to do this, we are going to do that, so many things. Are we actually going to do? Okay, some of them got delayed, but they are happening. Like the one in real estate, we said May, but now we are ready. Any branch comes, we can take it up. And for that, the teaser also is there today. Both the architects of it, Vinay and Prabhu, are here to explain to all of you. What else we did is we started looking at non-traditional areas. What are the non-traditional areas? Which are maybe virtual CFO, maybe US taxation, or outsourcing of any other country's taxation, MSME, because MSME consultancy is given by everybody, but we give only in income tax and maybe GST. But MSME consultancy by chartered accountants can be given in another half a dozen areas, and we can tie up to get others so that we become a one-stop solution. The real estate also is like that, but I think I will allow Vinay and Prabhu to explain this. We are also looking at globally how we can become consultants to GCCs, set up GCCs, a chartered accountant himself setting up. Towards these two other important programs are there. One is called the Practice Ki Pathshala. Practice Ki Pathshala is a program where a person who feels that my practice is not growing much, or he has plateaued, or he has taken a break. She also is very important here. Some ladies may take a break to bring up a family, etc. So for them, Practice Ki Pathshala is a ready-made program because it puts you in touch with what is happening, what is the latest in IT, some little training also on that, good on some little on attitudes. Basically, it's a catch-up program, refresher course. And if we are not having the speed in our profession, how we can get speed? By going for this. This is a residential program. We also have a non-residential option for those who feel going to the COE is a problem. We are also thinking of coming up with another dozen, not dozen, half a dozen programs next year. That is in 2026. I think if I missed out something, maybe my secretary should help out. But idea is that traditional practice has plateaued. So we have to look at non-traditional practice or getting deeper into the area which we know, add new areas, or get deeper into a particular vertical, like the real estate vertical. I'm sure that Vinay and Prabhu will take it. Ramesh Prabhu will take it further. I will also join in after some time. I've got one more meeting. So with that, I would like to wish all the participants a wonderful learning. I will also join in because I want to hear your questions a little more. So Ramesh and Vinay, thank you for getting that content ready, huge content, and also now taking up this seminar, this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your introductory words and the kind words. Very good afternoon, friends, and it's my privilege
They
to.
will introduce you.
Acha, okay, sorry. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't need introduction. You need more introduction.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman, sir, for giving us the outlook with which the CMP is working for all the members. And thank you for all the encouragement and setting up the tone for today's very important opportunity area. I have my colleague Priyanshu Malhotra with me. I would request Priyanshu ji to please take over with this session with the introduction of Vinay sir and Prabhu sir in detail before we start with this topic for a day. Over to you, Priyanshu.
Thank you, Alok ji. It's an opportunity to introduce both of the eminent speakers today. So the first speaker of our day is Vinay Tyagraj. He's a chartered accountant and a commerce and law graduate from Bangalore. With over 2 decades of professional practice, he serves as the governing council member of National Real Estate Development Council and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And he's a treasurer also over there and trustee of Nelly Foundation. He has conducted over 350 sessions across India and successfully organized the 3-day National RERA Residential Program at ICI Center of Excellence at Hyderabad. He has also co-authored books on RERA law and practice in Maharashtra and Karnataka editions, and played a key role in framing ICI certification course on real estate. His vast experience and clarity of thought make him one of the most respected voices in the real estate advisory domain. So our second speaker is CA Ramesh Prabhu. He is also a chartered accountant with over 3 decades of professional experience and certified information system auditor. He's a leading authority in RERA cooperative societies and real estate law He is chairman of the Maharashtra Social Welfare Association and Swagat Housing Finance Company Limited. He has authored over 40 books on housing society management and 4 books on RERA, and serves editor of WIRC Maharera Law and Practice and MSWA Housing Societies Review. His recommendations on the draft RERA bill were incorporated in the final act, and his work continues to guide housing societies and policymakers across India. We are privileged to have both of you, sir, today to join this webinar and sharing your insights on the real estate domain. I would like to first take the session, CA Vinay Thyagrat, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Priyanshu, for nice introduction. Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to the webinar on practice opportunities and evolving goals of chartered accountants in the real estate industry. As Mr. Priyanshu mentioned, Ramesh sir is also with me. I request Ramesh sir to give the broader overview of the real estate as well as the today's webinar. Post that, I will start interacting and also I'll sharing the insight. Ramesh sir will keep adding to that, and probably we'll both would be present and we'll keep sharing each of the ideas, because we are not bringing any deep knowledge on any topics here. We're bringing the opening up and eyes are opening up, sharing an opportunities that are available for the chartered accountants, professional members in the area of real estate. Yeah.
Thank you, Vinay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madhukar Hiregang sir, chairman of the committee for members in practice. Yes, Alok Jha, secretary, Priyanshu Malhotra, and of course, CA Vinay Thyagrat. Thank you for giving us this wonderful opportunity. As we know, real estate is the second highest contributor is the to the GDP, and also it is the industry which is supporting more than 250 ancillary industries, whether it may be cement, steel, or materials, labor, and most importantly, it is again labor intensive, capital intensive industry. So after the agriculture, I think this is one of the biggest asset class which we can think of. And real estate, as we know, is most importantly fixed asset class in any economy, and especially the countries like India, where people are very close to their heart to own the property. Almost half of the fixed asset is residential real estate alone. See, when there are different class of real estate, when we talk about commercial, residential, industrial, and tourism, even in the real estate, we have infrastructure also a part of real estate if we have to look into. Then in the commercial also we have warehousing, data center. Recently, the type of real estate which is happening in global capability center and data center is a huge. We may be thinking in the era of technology how the real estate matters, because real estate is also one of the major contributor, or rather the technology also is contributing to this growth engine. So what is more, yes, real estate impacts our life in many ways beyond the pure economic value. So if this gives us a lot of sense of security, owning a home, which is makes our life much easier, as most of our modern life, as we know, spent in or near buildings, and the development of real estate market thus affect our political, social, cultural, economic, and even our spiritual lives. Now, having said this, yes, the real estate, as we know, is developing more into urban area. The urbanization also has started growing up very rapidly. So as on today, maybe 35% maybe in urbanized, and 65% is still in rural area. But the type of infrastructure development that is happening, and the way tier 2, tier 3 cities are growing up in maybe in next 10 to 15 years, as our Prime Minister is always saying, Vikasit Bharat 2047, I think more than 50 to 60% urbanization is going to come. Then only we can say that it's a developed nation. So the transaction of building can rightly be analyzed from very different angles. So the real estate transaction describes the transfer of ownership between a seller and a buyer of a property or a part of a property. When we talk about real estate as one of the highest contributor to GDP, or the second highest, I would say, let us come to the various laws which are also affecting. So that is also equally important. Real estate not only talks about only transfer of property act, registration of stamp act, it has several other laws which is taking through. So especially in comparison to stocks and bonds, real estate has several aspects that make a transaction complex. So as we see, each property is unique in its location, design, construction, use, and history. Buildings are bulky objects with long planning and construction process, and that too built to stay for decades on the market. This implies that real estate markets are regionally and functionally separated. That market transfer is limited and half transaction costs are significant. Now, as we are moving, and maybe you also started analyzing, understanding, real estate nowadays it has started becoming more of a digitalization. When I talk about the digitalization, the real estate funds have started coming in, REIT and real estate investment trust fund, then the transfer of development right, where the real estate is converted into transferable certificate, and 1 square foot, 2 square foot, one can buy, sell like any shares. So tokenization has started happening. In Maharashtra, we have 50 lakh crores, 50 lakh crore. The unlocking of real estate is happening. The way the traditional things are happening, that is not going to happen now. It is going to be more of a modernization where there are a lot of aspects are there. Liquidity is going to come. Earlier, we may say that real estate is more illiquid, but as we move ahead, maybe in next 2 to 3 years or maybe maximum 5 years, we'll see that like the real estate stock, the real estate also will be traded and people will get the required appreciation value. All the transaction becomes much easier. Many people believe that real estate is a definition, is a safe, stable investment. Certainly, it's the same underlying asset as you go forward, it will be real estate. Maybe it is the stone that make them believe so. In fact, real estate can be a safe investment if investors are aware of the specific risk and caveats for this class of asset. In order to enable to make an accurate assessment of the risk, investors need to perform a due diligence of the object, the market, and the financial and legal setting. So with this, I request Vinay Tyagaraja to take it forward further. And having given you this, basic, now I request Vinay Tyagaraja to start with the various stakeholders, how the stakeholders are happening, how the consultant and chartered accountant, we can develop a consulting practice. So when we look at, there are two types of practices in any industry or in any aspect. One is more of a compliance practice, second is consulting practice. In the case of a compliance practice, it is more of a routine thing which a graduate can always do. A chartered accountant can overview and review that, but they should not get involved in the compliance practice. More important is consulting practice, concept to completion of a real estate project, a life cycle project. In the life cycle project, at different milestone, which are the stakeholders who are coming in and how a consulting chartered accountant can develop the practice. With that background in mind, Vinay Tyagaraja will take you to the presentation, and as and when you think that I required or if there is any questions, definitely I will come in. So over to CA Vinay Tyagaraja. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh sir, for setting the tone for the today's webinar. Friends, as Madhukar sir did mention, Alokji mentioned, Ramesh sir has mentioned, real estate is always an exciting industry to many of us or most of us. And that excitement has not reduced since ages. Your grandfather has some excitement towards the real estate, your father, parents had it, you have it, your children also will have it, because the real estate is always something which is real, which always give a value add, which always on the incremental or the increased trend in terms of the value, its benefits that we derived it. But as a chartered accountant, as because this topic of today is what is my opportunity in the field of real estate industry, something which let's look into that. For that, generally this is what we hear about as a chartered accountant, whom all could be my potential clients or whom all I can render my services. Broadly have taken it as the fundamental or basic program. Apart from that, we have various other class of stakeholders, including my international agencies, including the international authorities, including the international regulator. We can explore our opportunity for in terms of providing the services. But to start with the fundamental understanding of this industry, understand who all be the part of this industry and what could be their role and what is my role as a chartered accountant to provide that. As I start with the any real estate is piece of land is very important. Without a land, we don't call that as a real estate. On the land, you can build whatever you wanted to build, but land is a must. What an extent of land? Any extent of land, even a 10 square feet of land is a real estate on which you may build 10 times of it. So fundamentally, you need to have a land. That land is owned by somebody, a land owner or a owner of the land or a leaseholder of the land, whomever you call it. That land owner may be a many people. It may be individual, it may be a family, it may be a corporate, it may be a government also. Initially, most of the land piece or land parcels are held by the government. They started auctioning it, started giving the ownership in disguise as the development. So owner is the land owners are the first set of clients for a chartered accountant to advise. Next set of clients are the important in the list is a promoter or a developer. And the definition of a promoter is very relevant post RERA. We all know RERA is a transformative legislation. The most unregulated industry, second largest industry, as Ramesh sir mentioned, after agriculture. The first largest industry contribute to the GDP of a country and to the taxes to the exchequer is a real estate. Unfortunately, it took 7 decades, 70 years to appoint a regulator to this industry. What does mean a regulator? You may have a question, who all could be a regulator of of a different industry? You may have various regulator to a various industries. Like if you take for a banking, you may see the RBI. If you say for the food, you may have FSSAI. For a insurance, IRDA. For example, for us as a chartered accountant, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, for a member base of 3 lakh or a 4 lakh chartered accountants, we had a regulator started in 1949. In 1949 is an act of chartered accountants. And probably that point of time, we may have about 10 chartered accountants or 100 chartered accountants, or maybe an accountant prior to our professional act who are all migrated under this act. Over the period in last 75 or 76 years, the number of chartered accountant is about 4 lakh members or 5 lakh members, whatever may be. For a 5 lakh member of database as of now, we have the regulator. And imagine the real estate industry is the second largest, first largest tax exchequer GDP. We did not have a regulator to this. For various reasons, let's not look into what are the reasons why we did not have a regulator to this industry. Luckily, by introduction of 2017 Real Estate Regulation and Development Act, there is a born of a regulator under this industry. Post that, there is a lot of transformation in this industry. 2017 2025, probably about 8 years, and we are in the 9th year of this journey of the real estate regulation. I'm sure, my dear friends, you all would have been heard on various occasions about RERA and the regulator being as a regulatory authority. Probably you may not practice in the area of RERA or a real estate, but still this is important for you to understand, because post RERA, any terminology, any definition which related to the real estate has to refer back to the act called RERA Act, RERD Act of 2016. Say an example, a carpet area which is defined in the RERA, which reflect in your income tax. Income tax doesn't define a carpet area again. Your GST doesn't define a carpet area again. It says the carpet area is a definition as defined under RERA Act 2016 Section 2. That's how this industry, that's how this act is trying to consolidate entire ecosystem of the real estate industry. And it's very important for us to always be mindful about the regulation and RERA. Regulation under the real estate is a RERA. There the definition of a promoter is defined. Very important to know who is called a promoter. Okay, because I did not define who is a developer, who is a builder, who is a landowner, who is a something else. They say only promoter. The longest section in RERA is section 2 of promoter is the longest section. Anybody and everybody who develop, who construct or causes to construct is a promoter. You name it, anybody which covers under the definition of this. Friends, this act did not spare even the government. That means to say, if the government is in the business of the real estate, government is in the business of allotting the plots, government is in the business of construction of an apartment for whatever be the reason. It may be for the slum dwellers, it may be for the poor families, it may be under PMAY scheme, whatever may be. The moment the definition of real estate triggers, even the government is also liable, also covered under this act or legislation. Let us be clear about it. There is no exception or exemption to anybody and everybody. Everybody is covered under this act is what I would like to mention it. And you have a lot of things that you can offer the services to the promoter or a developer. As Prabhu sir mentioned, concept to completion of a real estate project, we can be a part of it. We can be a partner with them to provide the entire services. It is a bigger opportunity what we have. That to post RERA, because you have to join various aspects of real estate under various laws, and it should work. It should work together. It can't be work independently. You can't say cost as per GST is separate than what you defined under RERA. You can't say percentage of completion for revenue recognition for income tax is different than what you declare under RERA. You may show some receivable amount to RERA and to the banker who has lent money to you. You may have show some profit to the RERA and show some profit to the investor. May not be possible because now the RERA has given a platform that everybody and anybody can access to the information, and more so that information is very dynamic, which is not a constant, which is not a stagnant. Every month, every quarter, the information which keep changing and which is a dynamic in nature. So with the introduction of RERA Act, there's a huge opportunity for this real estate industry. Is something we should be mindful about it. As Madhukar sir said in his introduction speech, the traditional way of real estate is gone. Now it's a complex aspect of the real estate unless you make it as a simple. The regulatory mechanism, the compliances mechanism, the reporting mechanism, the flow of funds mechanism, the movement of materials mechanism, the services, the market, the client, everybody has to be in a satisfactory mode. Otherwise, the real estate project will have the impact of it. Similarly, the next set of people under the real estate, under radar, is a real estate agent or broker. Probably, friends, you might have seen the board next to a tea shop, 2 BHK property available, 3 BHK property available on rent. The person who comes and hand over the milk packet to your house, he may say, sir, there is a new project which is coming near my house, sir. Are you interested to book an apartment there? So look at the conversation of the real estate transaction in the market, where it was envisaged that, okay, real estate is something which is a free, Anybody can operate, anybody can sell and buy it. Probably post real estate RERA Act, government recognized this agent, registered agent, certified agents who should be capable of selling, who should be capable of transacting in the real estate are very important rather than the traditional. Without knowing about the product, they end up with selling it. That is not the intention of it. That is not the future of it also. So real estate transactions are the new or in any of the new project has to be done by the registered agents, which is mandatory under law. Next is the land aggregator. We'll look into what all the services we can offer to the land aggregator, the government authorities. Because of this RERA, this is going to be a mother act for a real estate. All other acts surrounding to the real estate has to look at RERA is the objective of RERA to be achieved. A simple example, you look at that sanction plans. The planning authorities used to give a sanction plans for the apartment or any building, used to give a plan sanction in the built up area concept. What do you mean by built up? Is something which is defined under local building bylaws or local TTCP Town and Country Planning Act or whatever the regular respective planning sanction planning acts. But RERA says your transaction should be in carpet area only. So your agreement for sale, sale deed, transaction, marketing collateral, everything to be in a carpet area only. Mean to say that over the period, the government authorities should also adopt to issue or sanction your plan sanction of the building representing a carpet area, mentioning a carpet area. I did not say that they should not mention the built up area. In addition to built up area, they should bring the carpet area also into the picture as part of their plan sanction. That's how the government authorities will start looking at. Not only that, NOCs to be issued by various agencies, the khatas, extracts, or what will be the property IDs to be issued by various agencies under the various government. Either it may be a municipality, it may be a panchayat, it may be a talukas, it may be a corporation, it may be urban authorities. So whoever may be, they have to understand how RERA, why RERA, their provisions, their statute has to in tune with this RERA. Then the professionals, I'm sure that we all know that various professions are associated with the real estate transaction, starting with the advocates for the due diligence, or the surveyor for the purpose of surveying, the architects, engineer, structural engineer, quantity engineers, like that various professions are involved in terms of that, and the chartered accountants, the finance professionals. And we should understand what is the role of each professional. As a chartered accountant, what service I can give to these professionals is also important. And once you know about RERA, you can be furthermore excited or empowered to advise them in a different manner. Then the banking institutions, we know money is something which is a common thread to entire transaction of a real estate. So money is a very, very vital role in the real estate transaction. Real estate is a capital intensive industry. It is not a slow investment is required. You need an investment bulk at one point of time, then remaining would be at a different stages. Versus you need an entire money to set up a car manufacturing industry, remaining is only operational. For a real estate, you need a base amount, then the structured investment to make this as a product and sell it in the market. So we need to know the role of the banker, the role of the lender, the role of the financier, the role of any person who involved in the financial aspect of the real estate. He should be looking into what services as a chartered accountant I can give is also something we should look into. Finally, is the consumer, thinking that if the consumer doesn't exist, do you think we all have the work to do, or do we have services to render? No, absolutely no. Consumer is a king. But however, this real estate is still not accepted, not treated consumer as a king. You know, you might have experienced in your own ways. Either when you deal with the developer, you as a buyer, or your client as a buyer, when they deal with the builder, really do you think that they're treating you as a consumer, as a king, customer as a king? Probably a question mark. Out of 10, 1 out of 1 to 10, what should be the score that you give it as a consumer, as a king, or treating consumer as a king versus any other industry? It may be a jewelry industry, it may be a car manufacturing, it may be a hospitality, it may be a hotel industry, whatever may be, versus this industry. Are they really treat you as a king where you have choice or the chance to say anything? Something is a question mark. As a chartered accountant, I can hold this customer or the consumer, and how do I render the services to them as my professional, based on my professional wisdom and the experience? Is something we should look at that. You may ask, sir, what all I can do it? As I mentioned, basic business advisory, you can do it. Legal document vetting, generally we are not capable of looking the legal document because this includes a lot of knowledge about the property aspect, various property laws. There are 30 different property laws. If you're willing to practice, then we should advise on the legal documentation. Otherwise, my recommendation, no. And what you can do, looking at those legal documents, you can see the what could be the business impact because of the clauses in the legal document. Tax related clauses is is our bread and butter or very fundamental to it. We can look into that. As you know that budgeting, forecasting, various analysis are some of the very close to our heart. Accounting and MIS is a fundamental as the professional what we have it. Loan funding, asset monetization, these are all the something which as a professionals we are, I can say that not completely into it. Example, what does mean is there are various other agencies other than chartered accountants are aggressive on this loan and funding to a real estate transaction. And there the outcome is measured based on the percentage, 1%, 2% of the transaction value should be paid as a fees for the success or the completing the transaction. Whereas a chartered accountant, I'm unable to claim probably 1% or 2% of the transactions happens through the chartered accountants. Remaining 98% happens through some of the people who run around, who don't know about that, but they know what is that, how to present to the client, how to go and meet the bankers and do like a I don't call this as a postman job. I can say that they are the people who facilitate this transaction. They take 2% of the transaction as their fee for that. Where we don't have it, say consider 100 crore rupees of the today's 100 crore funding for a real estate is not a big aspect of it. If you have a 150 crore rupees of the transaction of a real estate project cost, 30% is what government, sorry, bankers look at that, then you will have about 105 as bank can lend it to you. Say 2% of it is, you imagine that versus for it, that 2 crore rupees of my fees, how much I should struggle. We don't, because we don't look at that as area of practice for whatever be the reason of it. You may be good at giving the projections. For the loan funding, your client or that agent or DSA agent will come to you only. Sir, my banker is asking to give the projections. Who can give the projection? Who can prepare a projection better than a chartered accountant? We give a projection, we send a bill of 25,000 or 50,000. Many a time, even that also will not send it. Client says that's including your annual fees. Look at that as that. Asset monetization is a big business or a big opportunity that to post digitalization of this fractional ownership, REITs, small REITs, even the assets which worth about 50 crore rupees yielding some of the revenue by way of rentals. Earlier, I had an opportunity to only to probably go on rental discounting. Now I can bring that into the market, asset monetize it, make that a small and medium REIT, you can encash that money also. To that extent, that can be traded in the business, traded in the market. Whenever you have a money, you can buy back that fractional ownership by you itself. So that is also something which is very attractive. Unfortunately, we are not seeing that as our area of practice or as the advisory for that. Even 50 crore today of an asset is not a big amount. Tier 2 cities, Tier 2 cities having a 1 lakh square feet of a constructed area could be a 50 crore rupees transaction today. Go to your nearest place in Bangalore to nearest place is Tumkur. Probably it's a tier or tier 3 city. There you have a mall. Mall is yielding a 1 crore rupees of rental. That means, say, I can, if you discount it at 8 to 9%, I can monetize up to 80 crores or 70 crore rupees. So money is released to you. You can do with that money with the some other businesses. Earlier, traditional business was about the 1 crore rupees. I'll go to a discounting, rental discounting, and rental discounting is something which it comes with the monthly interest, where this asset monetization is distribution of the profits. So those are the some of the concept which is evolved post regulation. You should look at that post this RERA, various transformative policies also brought in by various regulators. Then our regular audit, when we say that audit is statutory audit, tax audit, management, internal audit, RERA, GST, investor audit, you do whatever maybe that is in our blood. That is a core area of practice. Unfortunately, we are not focused on this industry. For a real estate industry, sir, I do an audit. Statutory tax, RERA, GST, because that is the mandatory under respective statute, they end up with doing it. Proactively, we are not proposing it to the clients. Sir, I will look into your transaction in a real estate. See where I can add value to it. To add a value to it, first I should know the real estate. Unless I know the real estate, you cannot value add to the client. When you say real estate, it doesn't mean that the business you should see various other statutes also applicable to that. A simple example I can give you. There is a opportunity to file before the respective district registrar for reducing the valuation of the property for payment of the property taxes based on various parameters, because government fixed the property tax based on some of the criteria. That doesn't mean that the corner property will have X property tax and the property which is on the another side which is a lesser rental yield should I say the same thing. File before the district registrar or the IGR, you will get a better valuation of a property tax. So when you go inside, you can see what are the values, that value you can add it to the this industry or this stakeholders of this industry. Next is a certification. That is also it's like a routine or a bread and butter. It's a bread for a chartered accountant. However, we are not really explored what is the possibility of the certifications also. We think certification is just a fill the information based on the books and hand it over for whatever be the reason. You collect 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 rupees. From there, what is the value addition you can give it? We can also look into that. Project specific services, as I told you, I think concept to the completion is something which is always exciting for any professional who know about the real estate, could be a good area of practice or a service to the clients also. Because if you go back and see who are all these promoters, who are all these developers, who are all these builders, what is their background, what is their capabilities, what is their qualification, what is their professionalism, you may have a bigger question, right? And for your information, you go back and see the history. No builder has aspired to become a builder, either during studies or during post studies. Did you check any of your children, any of your parents, any of your colleagues, any of your partners, any of people whom around you ever thought that, okay, I will become a builder, for that I have to study throughout my career? or any of the builder client of you, or their children, for the, at least for example, did they aspire to study for to become a builder or a developer? No. They might have studied a computer engineer, or at max they could be a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer, correct? Or maybe a chartered accountant also for that matter. But whatever they did is not to become a builder, not to become a developer. However, they have become, for whatever be the reasons, whatever be the intention, means to say that still the gap of what they know about it, what they don't know about it, what is the best practices of this industry, we can fill that gap by being with them from the initial to the completion, is what I would like to mention. Again, the project services, specific services, viability of the project. You know, the land potential is something which is a very, very lucrative. Not many will understand that. Builder has purchased 1 acre of land. To know what is the potential of land, how much the FSI I can build, to whom he will go? He'll go to a probably as an architect, he may go, right? Architect will give you the potential because he would have been studied about the bylaws or the zonal regulation or the development CDP, comprehensive development plan or policies. What is stopping as a chartered accountant for me to read? Because if I know that, for me, not only the policies related to real estate, I can map that with the numbers, map that with the finance. That gives a bigger picture, that bigger opportunity for the promoter also to see the visibility. I know that there are projects which have bought at the very high land prices, they could not sustain because of the viability or feasibility of that is not done at a very um, initial stages. Probably you can see some of the projects which are taken over by the other promoter, where with the intention to make a very good fortune out of it, 50% have failed because of the proper financial viability due diligence considering various aspects of it. So then approval, drafting, RERA, these are other project specific services we can do it. Insurance advisory is the one more thing. Um, uh, Not only the construction insurance, insurance is a very large topic subject itself. If you are really passionate about it, there is a huge opportunity. As a professional insurance person, what we see, all these insurance agents, what is the insurance agent's qualification? They are qualified something. They have written something called a exams which is conducted by the IRDA. Then they have become the insurance agents to sell the policies only. To sell a policy, they become the agents. How much knowledge they have it about the industry? How do I advise on that? What is the proper policy they should take it to cover the risk? What could be the optimum premium I can pay it, and why should I pay it also? Those are all the aspects we should look into that. I'll tell you a simple example. Auto renewal of this insurance during the construction period. It may not be a much amount. For 1,000 crore rupees of insurance, amount to be insured, they probably pay about 25-30 lakh rupees as the insurance premium per annum for 1,000 crore rupees. One of my client, yes, by repeatedly they take the insurance, renew it. On the last renewal, that did not thought that my project will be completed in next 3 months, and I'll get the what will be the completion certificate. I'll hand it over to the allottees. That year also they have renewed automatically for the 12 months, where project would have been is completed in 3 months. Looking at that minute aspect of this, they could have saved some of the premium of that year. Okay, so that is what I meant advisory. It is not a agent. You are not an insurance agent. It's an insurance advisory should be looked into. Similarly, take over of a stalled project. You know, there is a Amitabh Kant committee who was the chairman for the Niti Aayog and also the recent central government various initiative. He has written the stalled project. He formed a committee. He was chaired that committee. Has written about 50 pages note on how to revive the stalled project. Who are all the key stakeholders who can make a difference of it? Friends, extremely good, very crispy as mentioned. You mentioned this is what one should do to complete this talent project. If you go and look at that, we play a very important role. He has not mentioned as a chartered accountant, but however, reading of that, we have a better scope, more scope in terms of that talent project. What I can do as a chartered accountant, talk to your client who is a builder, who is a builder, maybe a small, medium, big, poor, maybe. Look at some of the builders where the project is slowly happening, stalled, water, maybe. Look at that, do some due diligence, viability, feasibility of the stalled project, how you can talk to other client. He may not be other client, may not be your present client. Probably you can go and meet other big clients. Here is my one of the project which is stalled. I felt there is a feasibility, there is a money which is left because of his bad habits in the past, because of the bad reputation, he is unable to monetize this. Why don't you look it, rebrand it, and make it feasible, viable, profitable, and take it? I'll tell you, friends, in a Bangalore itself or any other places, generally the we call stalled project. Maybe if it is stalled for 3 years or 5 years, just for 1 year, nobody will call that as a stalled project because the hopes will be there with the everybody for minimum of 3 to 4 years. Beyond 3 to 4 years, the frustration will increase. Ecosystem doesn't permit to for that builder to perform. There is a stress from the customer, stress from the banker, stress from the tax authorities, stress from the landowner, stress from the regulator. Everywhere there is a stress. He may not able to move an inch also, even though he has intentions are good. The system will not permit. Then what do? You marry that project to somebody who has a better brand and better credibility at that point of time. We can do that. We can do that is something which for that we need to have some of the skill sets. See, any chartered accountant may require some of the skill sets required, some of the qualities we should have it, some of the mindsets we should have it. Institute highly says you should not go and seek work from any of the clients. There may be a what I can say is limitation for you in terms of go and seeking the services. How do you overcome that? What is required for you to comply with the institute regulation, ethical standard versus your service? Look at that. How do we do that? Is something we should always be mindful about it. The moment you have the good quality, a good mindset, a proactive, skill sets are required to understand the subject, understand how it operates, what are the risks, then I'm sure that is a very easy for somebody to take up these services and do that. It need not to be always to refer to the big five or big 10 are capable of doing. Why they do big five, big 10? Because of their quality, because of their mindset, because of skill sets, they're capable of moving it. Is there also a same chartered accountant like me, or maybe few MBS, right? Because their brand has some belief, or brand have some uh, past records of this. Probably when we start looking at that, also we can also create a confidence that we are also capable. Is what is that we should look at that, especially in terms of the stalled project. It's a huge opportunity. If you focus out of 10, one succeed, one itself is sufficient to settle our life. I can tell you. You need to put 3 to 5 years of effort to just to see that money in a regular profession versus one transaction in a real estate. Real estate is a transactional money. Money involved in real estate based on the transaction is what you should look at that. A transaction will get a very good money benefit and knowledge and the connect. You should look at that. Then next set of aspect as a chartered accountant professionals, we have the RWS, Resident Welfare Association. Friends, we all know that community living is the order of the day, not only at the urban areas like a tier one cities like Mumbai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Delhi, Pune. Now it has gone to a tier two, tier three cities also. The places like Nagpur, maybe places like you can name it. There are people are started living in a what I can say is a apartment culture or a community living. It may be a villa project, it may be a row housing, it may be a good plotted development with the good amenities. So your independent property is no more existence. You have a owner of it along with 100 different owners. It's a collective ownership. When I have a collective ownership, then there are collective functions to be performed. So how do you do that? I'm sure that most of you are exposed to this concept of resident welfare association or apartment association. Who can provide the services to them? Mandatory services like account, tax and audit is a mandatory. Apart from that, what can you provide the services? Friends, for your information, Indian Institute of Management, Bengaluru, in association with the Bangalore Apartment Federation, running the program on this, on Resident Welfare Association. How do you manage? Imagine the IAMB is in the program related to RWA. Imagine the complexity, because the moment you IAMB has taken this as a program means, imagine what could be the potential, skills required or the mindset required. So, as a basic advisory, formation tax, those are all the basic services. Beyond that, you can also provide a services to them, advanced one, including the dispute resolution mechanism. Again, the insurance advisory you can provide, asset management you can provide, and asset procurement, hire purchase or a own or a lease you can provide the advisory. Because RWS is a very large project, you can look at that. What could be the sustainability requirement of that, whether it's a water, power, electricity, whatever may be, who can provide those services, who will read it. You can have a good understanding with any other consultant of other field, maybe engineering or maybe environment. Connect that with the numbers, finance, you can provide a good services. Friends, the electric solar photovoltaic SPV, solar photovoltaic, what is that? Roof solar. So those things, something which is a capital intensive. Many of the RWS may not have the capital to purchase that. How do you bridge that? There are various agencies to fund it, monetize it. Post monetization, the property belong to the RWS. Those are all the some niche area what you can look into that. Portfolio management for real estate investment. You know that all these, what offices you call it as? All these companies will have offices, no? Business offices, or maybe all these HNIs investment, all these directors uh, investment would be operated by a specific office, business office, what they call it as. I'm unable to recall that name. So you can look at that investment, real estate investment is part of their portfolio. Is something which you can look into. New instruments like a fractional ownership or the REIT. You can see Amit Kediaji, our own professional colleague, chartered accountant, has very ambitious about this fractional ownership and the REIT. He has also given few publication under the institute. Very knowledgeable in this field. Those are all the something which is of a good area of practice. Then global real estate market research opportunities. Imagine that you monitor the global real estate. There may be opportunity for your client to invest in Dubai. That Nigeria is upcoming market. How we can invest there? How you can do that? Yesterday I met a company called TLG. They have something, a very unique way of global investment where they get the 28 countries visa. See the business opportunities of buying a real estate with the 28 country visa. So what is that means to say that? Automatically your real estate will increase, plus also access to 28 countries as a visa for you. So some of those things is also part of our service. May not be everybody will take up everything and do it, but everything is possible as a chartered accountant, because by basically from by education wise, as a chartered accountant, we read better, we put our efforts better, at least majority, or maybe I can say 95%, inclined towards more of learning curve. Still, every day we learn. We institute made it a mandatory to have a CP, structured, unstructured, that publication, this group or that group. Honestly, I'll tell you a couple of my friends who are into other profession like a advocate or a medical or engineer. They say, wow, how many webinars you attend, how many sessions you go and meet, not only in your place, everywhere you're going and noting what knowledge you gain. Mean to say that we are always open to learning and attracted with the new opportunity, something which I would like to mention it. As I mentioned, real estate is a very large, very dynamic in nature and always available, opportunities available to everybody. So these are all something which already Prabhu sir has mentioned. Prabhu sir, if you are there, I request you to come back. Couple of slides I want you to brief to the participants. In the real estate transaction, what are the various diligences, opportunities we have in the real estate transaction? It need not to be at the initial stage. It can be at the various stages. This due diligence can be possible. Any due diligence, measuring the impact, looking at the risk pattern, value that risk, place it before the client. Client will decide on what is the informed impact on the real estate, impact on the financial aspect of it. You know, tax is a impact, bigger impact in the real estate. If the taxation goes wrong, the company may go into bankruptcy also because you have a tax, you have an interest to pay, you have a penalty to discharge. A wrong tax advice or wrong tax implementation by whatever be the reason will be have a huge consequences in the real estate transaction. Similarly, legal due diligence, we are not expert of a legal due diligence because we are not studied much about the property laws. But nevertheless, if you make that as a practice, most of chartered accountants also have become the LLB graduates. Even myself is a LLB graduate. Invariably, you will start picking up and understanding the property laws, and a CA qualification with the legal understanding capability is a deadly combination. Cannot be a comparison with any other professional. So you can advise on the legal aspect of that also, because title is something which is the fundamental to the real estate. If that itself is vitiated, then entire transaction would be at threat. Similarly, financial due diligence, if you go wrong in terms of the budgeting, forecasting, sales, service, costing, could be a threat for you. Technical due diligence, again, I told you FSI would be a technical, the product mix is a technical, where instead of you bringing the mixed development, you brought only residential. Instead of commercial, you brought a residential. Office space, you without looking at, you did something. Those in association in or in consultation with the industry, market surveyors, or the technical people like engineer, architect, you can provide the services, linking that with the numbers or the finance. As I mentioned, this is a very important. We should look at that real estate is a very different in terms of the class of asset for the various reasons which are explained from time to time. And location is always the paramount importance as a real estate. I hear this from the industry leaders. Three aspects to a real estate is always important: location, location, location. If the location is good, is done deal with the real estate transaction. So when you talk to the client, it is not only the money which make matters. It's not only the quality of the quality of the land is important. Location is utmost important to see what he can do in the business. As I say, risk and return. This is a fundamental economics. You cannot differ with, at least in the real estate, compared to any other thing. Okay, and as I mentioned, risk and returns, and these are all the inherent risk of the real estate, which I mentioned. As I mentioned that like, what is real estate? Like, you should look at this as a real estate. 100 crore business, 100 crore product can be built with 1 lakh rupees capital. Go and see the real estate company balance sheet. What is their capital? What is their equity contribution versus the debt versus the current liability? What is the net worth ratio? Look at that is what is that is important. So probably putting that numbers looks very different, but that's how the real estate industry operates. They may not invest anything. They had a good skill set in terms of engaging the builder, landowners, engaging some investors, and the good architects. What you need is to connect all with your knowledge, with your experience, and bring a confidence and trust to them and make it happen. That is why you have a low equity in the books of the any of the real estate companies. Debts are more, high debts, highly leveraged in terms of the real estate transaction. We should be very mindful about the cost of interest for a debt. No more 18%, 22% debt will work in the real estate. The 1 year of delay in terms of for whatever be the reason, it may be a political risk, it may be a regulatory risk, it may be an environmental risk, it may be a market risk, whatever you say, 1 year of delay with the high rate of interest, the project become unviable. It become not feasible. So debt should be very balanced. Debt should be meaningful. You can't have a more exposure to the debt and the interest on the same thing because we still see that people commit for 22%. That's where it comes from. And how do you give it? I'm also of the opinion for a yield of 22%, how much should be the return on that investment? How much should be the quality of an asset to yield that is very important. You will have mezzanine like you have a subordinate loans and nowadays creditors also supplied against the real estate commitment. We have seen various like the contractors say, yes sir, I will supply but earmark some of the square feet for me is something which is also something which mezzanine capital we always see that investor for profit or gain in participation. You know that directly, indirectly, everybody and anybody wanted to participate in this industry. How do you link it? You may have a good client having funds. Probably you would have been kept that money in a very safe investment like bank FDs or government bonds. Look at that. Any good client of you need a money. How do you bring both together and make a good return to both the investors and a good practice to the developer itself is something we can look at that as in terms of the financial instruments. As I mentioned, the risk and return, the fundamentals of the economics is very much in the real estate. Look at the risk which you have in this. You may have the similar risk in any other businesses, but this risk in this industry, you have to take each of these to pass the test of the profitability of a project, profitability of the venture is what is very important. I'm sure that each of you agree that you are aware of the systematic risk, some of the unsystematic risk. Systematic risk, somewhere we know this. Without that, you cannot come into the business at all. But unsystematic risk which we have now, that is very dangerous. That's the dangerous. And collapse of any of the real estate builders in India because of this unsystematic risk, because of unable to control, unable to address this unsystematic risk is something which we should look at that. It's a case study of every builder. It may be a JP Infra, it may be Unitech, you name it. You name, there are the national player or the regional players. You'll have at least a dozen of the players. They have vanished once upon a time. They are the industry leaders, at least the top 10 in the list. Now they're not there today. That's how you should look at that as part of it. Probably I have not added something called technology risk also. Unless you implement, unless you adopt a technology in every aspect, construction require a technology for you to build it. Sales require a technology. Handling the customer relationship is a technology. You have to evolve, you have to adopt the technology as part of the business, even though it's a labor intensive. How can you decrease? How can you reduce the dependency of the labor 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. By the end of the project, you probably would reduce or implemented 10% of your labor intensive risk to the technology, move towards the technology risk. Of course, technology risk also you have it, but that is the order of the day for us to understand and move forward. Again, each financial risk is very important for us to understand and advise the stakeholders. When I say that, it is not only the builders or developers, it applicable to everybody for that matter in terms of when they deal with the real estate transaction. Say an example, investor. Investor, this risk is also applicable for him. Okay, buyer, for him also some of the risk are which is applicable for him is to be looked at that and advise them accordingly. Type of asset, class of asset, various class of assets we have. To all of them we can advise. If you put a matrix on the one side class of asset, on the top you can put probably the stakeholders, landowners, developer, builders, government agency, statutory agency, bankers, investors, right? Then put which is a tick, prepare a matrix, you can see that the wonderful graph will be there for you to whom to address, what are the different type of assets you have it to provide the services. Residential, we all know that either it's a group housing or it may be a plotted development. Commercial, the retail, industry. Retail, what do you mean by retail? The malls you can consider as a retail. Commercial is you build it, probably would have been rented out to the large organization or the small individual tenants. Retail, what do you do with retail? What do you do in a retail? Probably you have a mall. You can advise if you know the dynamics of the mall management, dynamics of the revenue generation of the mall. You know that malls will charge high square feet of rentals, maybe 100 to 200, sometimes 400 also. And how do they achieve? They'll have a fixed rental concept and a variable rental concept based on the sales, based on the walk-in. If you are a true professional, you will learn the tactics, learn the knowledge how to increase the footfalls to the mall. Mall will charge rentals based on the footfalls into the mall or to the retail market, retail malls. That's how the rentals or the lease amount would be decided by this mall operator or mall owners. So this is the area of practice. If you understand that, then you can advise them how do you increase the footfalls, how do you increase the revenue of it. Also monetize those rentals by way of whatever be the instrumental available. Industrial, including SEZ, Gift City, they are also real estate project. Gift City itself is a real estate. Entire Gift City itself is a real estate first. Then the other services has come. A large real estate is there in Gift City itself in near Ahmedabad in Gujarat. So SEZ is also a real estate. Then the company will come first to build a real estate, build a ecosystem for a real estate. Then the companies and then it will come. Okay, without real estate, you can't expect the magic of the industries to come or the companies to come there. Even the new concept of GCC, what do you mean by GCC? Global Capability Center. Do you think without real estate GCC is a successful? No, because every state, every minister today talking, every chief minister talking about the GCC concept, because fundamentally it creates a good real estate market, real estate foundation that attracts automatically the various industries to that, jobs to it, revenue by way of the taxes to the government and to the entire ecosystem. Leisure and creation is a new thing. What do you do by earning money? You should have a leisure and a recreation. What do you build in a leisure? Again, without real estate cannot be a leisure at all. Probably if that is the case, you go and come back. Once you go there, you need a real estate. It may be a, whatever you call that, a piece of land over and above is a building, right? Piece of land is a real estate. How do you advise your clients? What recreation you can do it? If you are passionate about advising the client about, how do you attract? Recently, a project with 150 acres, it's a 3 hours drive. Once we've been there, there is no place for people to sit and have food there, and there are no rooms in the weekends. That is what is created. It need not be real estate meet only at the tier 1 or the urban areas. Now people wanted the peak of the Himalaya, they wanted to have their stay. So how do you create it? Is something we can actively look at that. Look at the leisure and the recreation. Read with the government policy related to the tourism. This year, our Honorable Finance Minister has advised or insisted, promoted on the tourism. We know Statue of Unity at Narmada in Gujarat. One tourist project has created entire ecosystem for a real estate. Hospitality or tourism cannot survive without the support of the real estate. Similarly, if you see that if you are a Telangana near airport 20 kilometers, Statue of Equality, Ramanujam. Entire 20 kilometers surrounding or radius is with the real estate now. So look at that tourism along with the real estate is the area of practice. Tourism policy, I do not know how many read about tourism policy. Tourism policy is incentivizing the government, incentivizing the individual business owners or the groups. How do you promote the tourism? Because one location of a tourism having a capability of transforming 20 kilometers radius of real estate and also other aspects of it. Next is the healthcare. You know that healthcare is also a nowadays destination. India is a destination for a healthcare. So foreign healthcare, you need a real estate again. You know, spa has come. Spa is not just a thinking of our those days of only a massage. How many of you know that there is a 20 acres of healthcare which is there for spirituality, regeneration, health near to Bangalore? Probably you all heard about Jindal, Naturopathy, or maybe if you go to Vijayawada, you have some Mantana Satyanarayana. They are all operating in a very large. Again, it's a real estate. And in and around the ecosystems are built. Education, you know, no more school with only a classroom. You need a large area of a real estate for education. What you can provide as a educational, you can provide, but how do you support for them to acquire the real estate? How do you structure it as an educational, not only with the education, along with what you can provide for the employees of that? You can provide employee quarters, a good infrastructure for them, reduce the dependency on the travel. Again, infrastructure is a big itself. Okay, that's not the. Let me not talk about that. Again, a plots. Probably everybody wanted to have more and more real estate. Plotted developments is something which is everywhere. You can see cut into pieces, sell it like a cake. No land left from Bengaluru to Mysore. No land left from Bengaluru to other place. No land left from Pune to Mumbai. Every land is sold on the roadside, probably 1 kilometer inside the road also, by way of selling as a plot. Farmlands with the leisure homes, this you know all know that farmlands, half a acre, quarter acre, 1 acre, agriculture land, and with the introduction of various government free schemes, we're making all our good rural people as lazy. They get most of them as free for their livelihood, so they need not to work and need not to work in their farms. So what's happening with that farms? At least look at that. You aggregate that 100 acre, 200 acres, because with a smaller piece of land you can't do anything. Maybe aggregate with that. Form a society. Government is very aggressive on the cooperative model of the farm or the agriculture. Farm, make it 100 acre, 200 acres, and start looking at how do you make use of that as a large piece of land for the purpose of agriculture, horticulture, aquaculture, whatever you call it as, is possible. Because you need a trusted consultant who advise the people who wanted to invest. Probably you can think chartered accountant as a trusted consultant who can advise not only with the money, the risk, the business, custodian, and continue with the tax aspect of it. Those are all the various aspects we can look into as a farmland development. And I know that one of the chartered accountant working with 50 chartered accountant to procure 5,000 acres. Travel beyond city, travel beyond town, where about 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs is the cost of that farmland. 5,000 acres. Imagine you have a 5,000 acres of the agriculture land. What is possible? Right? Mechanization possible. Big, large scale growth is possible. Everybody would be benefited. With that, 10 acres or 20 acres land worth of like 1 crore, 2 crore in Bangalore or any cities, you can buy about half a site or a one site. There, go along, buy it, make that as a project and monetize that. That is possible, but that need a knowledge of what do you mean by real estate, what do you mean by the business of a real estate, what you can do it. The business may be agriculture, but the fundamental you need a land. Land is like a real estate for that. Is what would I like to mention it. As I mentioned, opportunities, specifically I have captured it. If anybody has any question, they can post it. We have another half an hour. I can take it more depending on the participation of the members. Madhukar sir, you have any specific aspect? Ramesh sir?
Let us respond to the questions, no, Vinay? All three of us can respond to the questions. And if there is something further, I will say.
Sure,
I think
sir.
better if we can listen to what people want.
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
There are many questions.
Perfect,
First
sir.
one is, what are the key tax planning considerations and implications under a joint development agreement? Further, how does the conversion of agricultural land into residential plots impact taxation, and what prudent tax planning measures can professionals advise to their clients?
Okay.
Priyanshu,
Yes, sir.
see, this is a question which can be there in
Tax.
that session.
Yes.
Now, these people have given broadly. Otherwise, this question which is asked is a 2-hour answer.
Yes, yes,
2
yes.
hours
That
it will
was
take to
I
answer.
was also
So,
thinking like
please
this.
pick up the questions which are relevant to today's sharing by Ramesh and Vinay.
Yes.
Madhukar sir and Priyanshu, I'll add it to it, sir. I do not know which member have asked this question. Very pertinent question. Even if I answer to this question, another 1 hour, you'll have one more question to come. Real estate, there is no perfect answer to the tax structure, at least, unless the facts are clear. Each facts are clear, different. So cannot be answered that. So the member who asked the
Broadly,
question,
Vinay, you can tell them broadly, when you make a mistake in any of the areas which he talked about, broadly you can tell them what is the impact and also what is the value addition possible. This
Yeah.
you can certainly share in about 2-3 minutes.
yes, sir, sure. See, in terms of the taxation, I'm sure that very few professional advise first practice the tax on the real estate. To practice taxation on the real estate require a large, one is experience and second is a knowledge and continuity. If you do not have these three, then you may not be able to successfully advise the client. So broadly, what I recommend somebody to be a practitioner of advising the real estate taxation matter, he should have know the knowledge of the real estate, number one. Second, laws related to the taxation. Third, he should continuously should practice. It is not that once in a year some clients will come and do it. No, then that advice may not be a impactful or impeccable advice. So these three qualities broadly required for a chartered accountant to advise on the tax matter related to the real estate. And the members, that is why this committee under the leadership of Madhukar sir has come out with a very fantastic program to train the members to ready to start practicing on real estate. Make a note of it. Institute will announce soon, open for registration, and each batch is a limited batch which clears the 360-degree views of the real estate knowledge. From there, you can develop yourself. Next, Priyansh.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
just to add here,
Hmm.
just to give you some perspective on the taxation. If it is an agriculture land and it is getting sold and you are going to put it in agriculture, maybe you will get an exemption. There are certain specific sections to that.
54B.
And yeah, when you talk about land, agriculture land, you are simply converting into an agriculture, that is called conversion, and it is called non-agricultural conversion or commercial conversion or something. There is nothing where the taxation is involved.
Selling taxation will involve.
That's correct. So if at all that you convert and sell, possibly there will be further taxation. So you have to understand, as Vinay has rightly pointed out, the facts is more important. What is that he is looking at it? Your exposure to the taxation in the life cycle of a real estate is also equally important. The conversion from real estate from the capital asset to stock in trade, possibly right now there may not be that tax, but as taxation also, there are various different levels. So I think it is a huge subject, as Madhukar Hiregangeji has rightly pointed out. It will take minimum 2 hours. So I'm just thought of giving some perspective. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So the second one is, so most funding requests the member received are related to real estate projects, while construction finance after RERA registration is generally permissible. What is the scenario for funding requirements at the stage of land acquisition or immediately after the acquisition, but before RERA approval? What are the feasible and modern financing options available for such pre-RERA stages?
Uh,
Same answer, actually.
yeah,
If we can tell them, that's it.
yeah.
1
See,
minute.
as I mentioned earlier, there was challenges to raise the funding on the land. Post RERA, post structures are some of the structures have created. Now various agencies are now funding. Earlier, private people used to fund at a higher rate of interest. The challenges were more, both for the people. Now there are various agencies. NBFCs are very aggressive on funding on the land now. There are various models have come in terms of funding it. So funding a land is as equivalent as easy as funding the real estate project for a construction are available. Probably if you start looking at the market, if you start exploring, there are possibilities, there are more possibility to funding. Funding is available. There is no dearth for the fund. Huge money available in the market to look at to invest in a good real estate land parcel for the
Okay.
business.
Just to give you some perspective, there is a lot of alternative investment fund, or that is also called private equity funds. So, which aspire to get a higher rate of interest, they put into the acquisition of the land, or maybe also they will give the pre-approval, or for the purpose of approval they give. Yes, once the approvals are issued from the competent authorities, then you want to construction finance, or for further loading the something called additional construction permission, then yes, you get a regular funding from the banks and other things. Otherwise, normally it is a private investors, private equity funds, or certain NCDs which are being floated by the some of the companies, and of course listed companies do come out with the shares and other things. These are the more of a capital oriented and high return oriented funds which are right now available in the market. More than 1,000 different types of alternative investment funds are available in the real estate. One has to start doing, whether it's a mutual fund, even mutual funds, real estate mutual funds are available. There are specific housing finance companies are available. More than 100 housing finance companies giving at a different life cycles, including a home loan. Yeah. Thank you.
The next one is, sir, if we choose a niche area such as financial or tax due diligence? What should be our go-to market strategy? Further, what key steps should we take to position ourselves as market leaders and effectively market our services in that domain?
Madhukar sir, you can straight up can tell. The formula is only one, not only for any risk, formula for anyone to become an expert. Madhukar sir,
Pardon?
the question is, what is the go-to market for somebody to call them as the expert or people recognize them an expert in the real estate?
Yeah.
It cannot be
Well-
different than any other in the any other subject. Yeah.
See, basically, what I have understood in practice itself is because I was a very ordinary, capacity chartered accountant for 10, 12, 14 years. At that time, I think Vinay would have just been meeting me. That's all. After that, I took off. But I took off after looking at one particular very important method. Method was if I want my staff to work for me, I have to serve them. Serve them doesn't mean just saying. I have to do something. I have to train them. I have to care for them. I should have measures in our office which help them. And then they started serving me. Now we have 600 people. We don't have any problem. Articles just come. Same thing with clients. Serve the client. Now in this case, serve that industry. You may have so many clients. You may have 200 clients, but in them 20 are in real estate. You become focused on that. Serve them little more. Go the extra mile. Once you are able to concentrate and specialize, then people will start coming to you. I think Vinay, in the starting of his thing itself, he told how many people are there who are providing real estate service. There are agents, contractors, RSW. He listed out more than 20, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
All of them are your potential clients, but they will come to you not if you show them that I know something about RERA. I know something about tax planning. I know something about GST. I know something about income tax. They will not come to you for that. They will come to you because you are able to help them save money, make more profit, avoid risk. And some of the areas which he has taken, are very, very important. Many of it we don't do. And we don't do because we don't know. Many of them are very easy also. For example, finance, starting 1 year, 2 years, not even 2 years, 1 year is difficult. After that, you have all your set resources. And today, all projects of real estate, you can take under management consultancy. Do you know, you can say, this is a management consultancy project I'm doing. So then you can tell them, please give me a fixed retainer of 10,000 rupees per month plus 5% of whatever I save you. Finished. Or if you are getting the money, you can say fixed fee of 10,000 rupees plus 2% or something, as he mentioned, 2% of the loan sanction. Now, what you're doing is you're moving out of the small existence we have had in the past. ICI also is enabling all this. But you have to ensure your documentation is management consultancy, and it is management consultancy. After all, what you're telling them, I am going to give you advice about how to manage your business. And therefore, but you have to learn. Attend this 5-day course fully. 6 days, no? Vinay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Attend, and they are all going to be there. Ramesh will be there. Vinay will be there. You ask them in the course, and later after the course also you can ask them. They are all dedicated to this, goal of empowering chartered accountants to do proud practice, I would say, ethical practice, Good practice. Don't charge bits and pieces. What he said. Don't charge some 10,000 rupees for preparing project report. There's no use. The bank will not even look at your project report. You have to go convince them. Who is going to convince? You. Who is going to get trained in GST? You're going to get changed in registration law, labor laws, commercial laws, regulatory laws, land related laws. Is it that you will become expert in all this? No. But you know what is there broadly. You can suggest, you can make a panel for yourself that I will suggest this particular activity to X, who is a lawyer. This to is Y, who is not even a lawyer. This to chartered accountant, so and so, because he's an expert in property laws. Drafting. Today, drafting can be done by your ChatGPT. But the key items to check cannot come from ChatGPT. The clauses that you have to learn in these courses. So my suggestion is these courses are not done just like that. It has taken Ramesh and Vinay more than 3-4 months to come up with the background material for this. I don't know how many times they cursed me. Why Madhukar sir gave us this job? But now
No,
it is
sir.
ready.
No, not like that. Because see, we also realize that how difficult one background materials will pass through the ICAI, number one. It takes a lot, and also we are also not expert in every aspect of it. We also end up with consulting various experts of this industry
Correct.
and made it, because once it is there in ICAI, it's a symbol of something about trust. It is not even the trust, it's a beyond trust what we feel. That is why it took some time for us also to understand.
And
make it
people will refer it throughout India now.
Yeah, exactly.
Throughout, even department officers, lawyers, chartered accountants.
Yeah.
So,
Sir, I'll tell you the recent success stories. Probably Ramesh Prabhu sir should also tell. About 400 chartered accountants across India have successfully practicing in the area of real estate in front of our eyes.
correct. And they'll be doing well.
Extremely well. They say that I don't want income tax of any other unless you're into real estate. They are very clear. They're all very happy. They have a high regard to Ramesh Prabhu sir because he empowered, he enabled everybody.
Wonderful, no? See,
Yeah.
specialization is the way out.
Yeah.
A vertical is the way out. But we'll answer some more questions if it is there,
Yes, sir.
Priyanshu. Then
Priyanshu.
we'll close the
Yes.
one-stop shop is the most important.
Yes, sir.
Any thoughts on property mutation? Does it provide proper title to property owner? How to get this done?
Ramesh sir, you wanted to answer this?
Yeah. See, till now, the mutation entry in the revenue record was not considered as giving the legal title to a property. What was giving, or what is giving even today, the legal title to the property is the conveyance deed, as executed under the Transfer of Property Act by following the due process under the Transfer Act, Property Act. What is that due process? One, it should be in writing and it should be duly stamped as required under the respective state stamp act, and then it should be registered under the Registration Act. Now, there is a new law which is going to come up, which is known as Registration Act 2025. The way the criminal law has been replaced, the Companies Act has been replaced. Now the Registration Act of 1908 is now getting replaced with 2025. Now in the new law, the entire transaction will have to be digitalized. So the mutation entry will definitely become, as you record your transaction in the sub-registrar's office, where under the Registration Act, you are getting a document registered, the mutation entry immediately gets updated, which means all the records are going to be digitalized, and the mutation entry is going to be digitalized. With this, what happens is a duplicate transaction will not happen, the fraud will be eliminated, and the entire property also will have attachment of PAN card, PAN number, as well as to the Aadhaar card. So each person's, the way Aadhaar has got connected to the bank account, even the real estate property will get connected post implementation of Registration Act. So therefore, henceforward, even the entry in the mutation entry becomes that equally important. In the revenue record, it becomes that important to get the ultimate title, undisputed title. So I think I have tried to answer. Yeah, go with it.
Probably somebody who has asked this question, they should study the Supreme Court order in case of Balwant Singh versus Daulat Singh. Extremely good order, which has given the details about mutation doesn't confer the ownership. Okay, please read that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is yes, still the present law.
Hmm.
As it
yeah.
moves to the implementation of Registration Act 2025, then the ultimate ownership will be ascertained through the digital record, which is getting
yeah.
Registration Act 2025. Their mutation also has been included.
Okay, sir. The next one is, what are the legal and practical consequences if WAQF board claims ownership of land and initiates litigation after the flats have already been handed over to buyers?
Who has initiated the litigation?
Waqf board, sir.
Waqf board.
Waqf board. Okay. Okay. Please, Vinay, you want to answer or you want?
No, sir. No. Whoever, maybe you share our phone number and the mail ID, we'll answer to that. Okay.
Right now, I'll just give you some perspective. See, the land is more litigant property, and different levels are getting unearned. But the RERA, section 18, subsection 2, I would say, as categorically stated, irrespective of the law of limitation, if there is any defect in the property, the onus will get shifted to the promoter, and it is the promoter who will have to clear the title, and the damages, whatever may be coming, it has to be made good by the promoter. So therefore, if he is buying a flat in an apartment or a real estate project, which naturally is post RERA, or it is a RERA registered project, the buyer or the home buyer or an allottee need not worry. It becomes shifted to the promoter themselves. Secondly, because it is a RERA registered project, the protection under RERA also is available to the consumer. The consumer or the allottee need not much worry. The litigation will still come back to the RERA. It's the RERA who will be deciding. Section 79 of RERA clearly says the the litigation, whether it is related to the property which is purchased in the RERA project, naturally will come back to the RERA authority only. The jurisdiction of a civil court is barred. So to that extent, they need not worry much if the projects are RERA registered. However, due diligence is required. Waqf board cannot come and just go on claiming property as theirs. So therefore, digitalization which is going to happen of real estate post implementation of Registration Act 2025 is going to be a huge game changer. Yes, you can share our numbers. We'll still get him back to offline with that person. Maybe he's facing that challenge. We can understand. We'll definitely try to address that. Thank you.
Sure, sir.
There is a section 51 of the Waqf Board Act 1995 is also there. That can be protected. The procedures are there. We can take that. Yeah.
The SSE doing real estate business, what should be the valuation of closing stock cost or market value?
No, the valuation of the inventory valuation according to the standard is applicable. So they can take the lowest of the realizable or the cost is, which is applicable to any other thing is for this also. Yeah.
Next one is, what is the role of LDO versus other land development agencies in NCR?
What is it? Role of?
Role of LDO.
LDO means?
Land Development Officer, possibly.
Land Development Officer.
Okay, I do not know what
is the difference. What is the question? What is the difference between?
Role of LDO versus other land development agencies in NCR.
NCR. Okay. I think it is a question. Land is a state subject, and when you talk about NCR, NCR also has a different states, whether it's a Haryana or a UP as well as
or
Delhi
Delhi,
itself.
Delhi.
Yeah. So we don't know which state they are talking about, whether it is Haryana. So the respective state law comes into picture, especially Maharashtra. If you talk about Maharashtra Land Revenue Code is there. Karnataka, we have Karnataka Land Revenue Code, and Haryana, UP, and all have respective. And each state government has defined which is the authority at a lower level who records the mutation, and then how the appellate authority gets functioning. So each of the officers are given a different role. It becomes very difficult for us to explain as far as Delhi or NCR areas LDO's role and responsibility is concerned. So one has to look into from that area only. Maybe offline we will be able to give them certain way forward as to how to get into it. The best way is to get into the respective state revenue department website. Look
Sir,
at
probably,
yeah,
sir,
look at
probably,
the
sir.
RTI. There is a RTI in every section 4 of the RTI prescribes that department what is the charter, what are the each authorities need to do. So if they go to the charter and download the charter, they will know what is the role and responsibility and under which section they are functioning. Yeah, thank
So
you.
probably, sir, in NCR, most of the lands are leased land. Okay. And they procure the land on the lease basis on construction completion and on registration conveyance deed of the respective unit. Government collect the money from the builder, in turn builder collect from the allottees. Probably we should look at that as a LDO to my knowledge on the leased assets, sir. Yes, sir. Next question, sir.
Last one is some banks are asking for CA certificate certifying that the builder will do this much work. For example, 15% by the builder, wherein a particular time for approving the builder project. In such situation, can we give the same the site certificate?
So we should look at what is my role as a chartered accountant while issuing the certificate. As a chartered accountant, under which act they are insisting us to issue the certificate. If it is under RERA, there is a prescribed format or prescribed provisions under the act. If it is not under RERA, we should look at that why I am issuing the certificate. As a chartered accountant, fundamentally I should look at that my certificate holds good for a specific purpose. And my certificate is always based on the books of accounts maintained by the promoter or the customer or my client. I just can't issue a certificate based on some other parameters. I can't certify the certificate of a building construction of progress of percentage of construction. I can only give a construction percentage based on the value they arrived at. Say 100 crores is the value estimated. They spent 35 crores. I can say 35% of the money estimated is completed. As a chartered accountant, I do not have a power to issue 35% of the project is completed. No, there is a difference between physical progress, difference between the financial which is incurred as per the books of accounts. Friends, look at that. Books of accounts is a primary document for any certificate we issue. If there is no books of accounts, I cannot issue that. And you are not competent to issue certificate percentage of completion by the physical progress. I am not competent. Probably engineer or architect is competent. So in your question, depends on the estimated cost of the project, depends on the books of accounts, how much is the money incurred for the purpose of the project, your certificate should be issued. Yeah,
This was the last one, sir.
yeah.
So as we come to the close of this session, so I would also request all the participants to give their feedback, wherein you can click the feedback form and give your feedback towards the sessions what we are conducted. Your feedback is very important to us, and you can also suggest more of the topics to which you want to have these webinars to be done. So I take an opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to our dignitaries, CA Madhukar Narayan Hirgange sir, he is the chairman of the committee, A special thanks to our eminent speakers, CA Vinay Tyagraj and CA Ramesh Prabhu sir, for their time and commitment in enriching our professional community. And finally, the heartfelt thanks to our participants. So I would like to also let you know the number of participants who have attended the session is 1,652 people. So it is a great number. So with this, we formally conclude the today's session. Thank you once again and wishing everyone the pleasant evening ahead. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you. Good
sir.
day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.